Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you stay here and I hope you like what you hear. These are going to be your messages for the month of October. I have made a point on most of the videos to be very vocal about what my intention is with these messages. And I was actually asked by my spiritual team to let you know what that intention is and the purpose for why I do this. And the main reason why I do this for you, why I give you messages, is to give you tools and understandings so that you can apply it in your life in a way that allows you to feel freer, to feel much more empowered, to feel less stuck, to feel much happier. So that is what my intention is with every single message that I receive from Spirit. So whether you are a Taurus or whether you are Virgo, whether you are Scorpio or some other sign, whatever comes through these messages for you, they're meant to make you think, they're meant to make you stop and pause, and they're meant to make you reevaluate perhaps some things in your life. That also means that the focus isn't as much on predictions, and the basic idea for it, or the main reason for it, is the predictive component of your future is very much tied to you and who you are as a person and what your beliefs are. So for me to say this is going to happen is very much dependent on where you're at. And I think most of you get that. But my greatest joy and my greatest wish for you is always to hear that my messages help you, because they help you stop and think, and as a result of that you reevaluate some things, you shuffle some things in your mind, and you begin to have a brand new perspective which changes your perception of everything. So that is my intention for you, and it's important that I say this to you so that when you listen to this, you may say, that's not for me, I want to know what's going to happen. Or you may say, this is exactly for me because I want to know what's preventing me from certain things in my life. These messages, as you notice, are coming early for you. I will try to make it a habit of making them early. It is not the easiest task with my full plate, but I will do the best I can. I am also going to be offering live sessions on YouTube, so stay tuned. And I will do my best to do one in October. So stay tuned. This will be, I will let you know. And as always, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Without you, I always say, I wouldn't do this. And it brings me great joy and great happiness to see your comments on how my messages help you. And I think that's all I have. I hope you enjoy these. Of course, if it doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of when you hear it, listen to it towards the end of the month. You guys tell me that more often than not, it applies to you way more. So without further ado, let's get moving. Hello, beautiful Aquarians. These are going to be your messages for the month of October 2018. Allow me to tune into your energies first. And let's see what we've got. But before I go there, I'm being reminded to say this. My intention for you today is to give you information that will inspire you, that will allow you to look inside and find things that were previously not known to you for the purpose of making life better. So whatever information comes forward through me, it is intended to give you just that, to give you something to think about that will hopefully open a brand new door to a brand new awareness. And from then on, everything shifts. All right. So let me tune into your energies. I feel you sitting like this. And I want to say, give it a rest. For some of you, you are being excessively stubborn about something in your life. I would hope it is something important, because if you're stubborn about something unimportant, that's a real problem. So perhaps some of you are being very stubborn for the sake of doing so. I don't know, somehow it serves you, or you are being stubborn about something that actually is really unimportant at the end of the day, and you are just wasting your energy. And I feel that in my throat, and I feel the frustration with you being stubborn. And I feel like for some of you, part of the reason why you are stubborn is because you've learned this is the only way you get heard. Interesting. So for some, wow, I just love how this works. Notice if stubbornness on your part is something that is prevalent in your life as far as your behavior. And then try to track back where it comes from as far as what emotion is causing you to remain to be so stuck on something, particularly when it is not of importance or not a big importance. Notice if by being stubborn, you are really trying to validate yourself so that you come across as someone important. Or that is fascinating to me. So if this makes sense to you right away, congratulations, because if you can look at your behavior and go, oh my God, this is what I'm doing, at least you know what the heck is happening. Life doesn't just happen to you anymore. At least you know, because you're understanding. So if that's the case, notice if stubbornness is a real issue in your life. This could also be stubbornness pertaining some sort of an idea you have about something, and you are just refusing to see it in any other way. And the reason why you are refusing to see it any other way is because it gives you comfort. And for whatever reason, I guess if you open yourself up, then you will not know where you stand. That is really interesting. That's fascinating to me how it's being shown right now. It's just incredible. Some of you may think I'm nuts, and that's okay. I think sometimes I'm nuts too. But just the way the mind works, it's just incredible. So notice if you are not stuck to some sort of an idea that you have. Maybe you're overly stuck about an idea about yourself. And for example, maybe you're stuck on the idea that, life always sucks for you and that's just the way it is. And you are married to that concept and that's just the way it is. You'd be actually shocked how many people actually believe that. We're not conscious of it, but we sure have it in our junkyard. You have a responsibility towards yourself to understand yourself deeply. Why is it important? Because the moment you get to know you, the world matters. What does it mean? It didn't matter before. The moment you get to know you, how you look at the world is very different. In other words, you all of a sudden feel like you have regained control over life. In other words, it'll affect everything that you manifest. Fascinating. All right. Actually, as a matter of fact, you do have one of the cards that's called Observer in protection position. And this is all about being stubborn or stuck on a certain concept or idea. So notice if that is something that's repetitive in your life. My guide is saying, how would they know that? That's a good question. How would you know if you are stubborn on something? Well, if you're constantly dealing with a similar issue and it feels like you're constantly pushing, notice if there is a stubbornness with it. You guys will understand what that means. I don't need to explain it. I'm just going to move on. All right. So one of the first messages or cards that you have is rejecting emotions. Now, this is really important because if you don't allow yourself how to feel, if you don't allow yourself feelings, in other words, if you squash your feelings down, you don't want to know, you don't want to feel anything. If you do that for prolonged period of time, what is essentially happening is you are resisting something that is trying to communicate with you, and you are choosing not to see it. And that we do that by denying. We do that by denying ourselves, by denying certain situations, denying feelings, denying the truth sometimes. And as a consequence, it's if I don't deal with it, I'm fine. But if that's the case for you, if you are one of those people who has a tendency to under-communicate or under-feel, in other words, you don't like to get emotional, you don't like to talk about emotions, and you certainly don't like expressing emotions. If that is the case for you, you will have an absolutely fundamental problem in any relationship. And that's pretty much a guarantee. And no, it's not a prediction. It's just the way it is. Because, if we can't effectively communicate, particularly our emotions, then if people can't read us, then there is a potential conflict, isn't there? So, huge message for a lot of you who are listening to embrace your emotions. And that is a hard one. I understand. That is a hard one, and I'm getting it in my throat. It affects your communication, obviously. For some of you, rejecting your emotions or squashing down your emotions is making you feel very anxious. I'm actually feeling a bit of an anxiety attack, or almost like an anxiety feeling. So frustration. So if you are one of those people who under-communicates their emotional self, their emotional body, then you may find that it's causing some serious problems, not only in relationships, but also on your body. That is definitely stress. Constantly pushing your emotions down will create stress in your body, because it's tremendous amount of energy that goes into doing that. And if you really think about it, you'll know what I mean. And, that's a lot of pressure. And pressure, eventually, when it gets too big, it explodes. So one of the things that's being highlighted here is, if you're one of those people that has a tendency towards panic attacks, please reevaluate your communication style with yourself as far as your emotional needs or your emotions, because rejecting emotions will fundamentally shape it will fundamentally shape your life, yes, but it comes from your belief system, and that's going too farther. It's very important. It is you being emotionally at peace for most of the time is a fundamental component of having a peaceful life. Why? Because, you're not always triggered. You're not always running around and trying to protect yourself from the world. You're not always thinking, oh my God, there's nothing for you. You're not always living in fear. And that is what happens when we squash our emotions. So hugely important. And that is the biggest message for you right there. So again, how does it connect to stubbornness? That's very interesting. Notice if your need to be so stuck on something comes from you really not expressing your emotions, not understanding yourself, I guess so. But notice how that's connected. You have responsibility towards yourself to know yourself as much as you possibly can, because it exponentially amplifies your idea of creating and of abundance. In other words, it creates much more magnificent life because you have choices. Now, you have the card of breathe. So this is about, I want to say, chilling down. If you are overly tenacious with your attachments, you might want to understand why are those attachments so important to you. So you may be stubborn about something that you are very much attached to. In other words, let's say, what example can I give you? Let's say, silly example, but that's what's coming to me. Let's say you are attached to the idea that unless you have a title, unless you're a manager or a boss, unless you have a title, then everything else, it just doesn't matter because you just feel crappy. And that is it. You don't want to hear it any other way. I just want this. That sort of stubbornness on something like that is an indication that something is happening internally that you need to look at. And this is a message of meditation. This is a message of lowering your stress. This is a message of quieting down your mind so that you can hear and listen what's trying to be communicated to you, also emotionally speaking. You will know, ouch, 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 ouch. Okay, so I just got this pinching pain on my left shoulder. So for some of you, this, as a result of stress, you have some sort of, I don't know if it's a pulling sensation or it feels kind of like it's a pulling sensation. So this could be a sign of stress. I have no idea how that would relate to not expressing emotions, but I guess it could. When you constantly suppress, your body eventually starts to go, what are you doing to me? So need to time and go within. Very important. The word breathe is being highlighted to me, which means if you notice your breathing, for those of you who this is meant for, you might notice that your breathing is very shallow. When you breathe, and we do it automatically. We're not people who are generally taught to breathe deeply. And when that happens, we hold our breath and we don't get enough oxygen in the brain, and then everything tenses. So particularly for those of you who are stricken with an anxiety, anxiousness, panic attacks, this going inside, relaxing your mind, allowing yourself to breathe deeply is fundamentally important. For many of you, this is key to success, to your successful life. Now, if you ask me, this is a key to life because it allows you to go again deep inside and figure out what's going on. And that is what allows you to get you to know yourself better. You also have to be fair. For some of you, thank you, this is about finances. You need to look at your finances. Why do they need to look at finances? Some of you are weighing things out. And I'm trying to tune in what you guys are weighing out. I want to say you need to even things out with your finances. I don't know what that means. This is going to be for very few of you. But it's like you need to even things out financially. Maybe you have too much spending and not enough coming in. Well, that definitely would create a problem. There seems to be some volatility around finances, and it's something that you're doing. So I think for most of you, this is going to be around spending, unnecessary spending, and you need to even things out. So that's going to be for few of you. For others of you, this is a card of fairness. Now, interesting again, talking about stubbornness and being stuck to a certain idea in a certain way. And the fairness is it's balance. It is harmony. It is a balanced way of looking at things, or looking at things in more balanced way. So again, going back to the idea of being stubborn about something, that you're very tenacious about some sort of an idea. Perhaps looking at things from a much more balanced way, and that's very important, will help you shift your perspective about things, however this fits into your life. Some of you stand for fairness, and that is what you are. That is what you are. It's based on your belief system. That is what you are stubborn about. Like fairness, it's just, now I would never say get rid of that quality. Absolutely not. But again, you got to look at where it comes from for you. And I'm feeling triggered. If it comes from a place of fear, then you still haven't come to a place of peace inside of you, and that needs to happen in order to have things more equal. So how does this relate to what I was just saying? You might be very stubborn about fairness, which there is nothing wrong with that, but notice what it's driven by. If it's driven by desire to help other people because you have experienced something that they do and you understand it, perfect. But if your need is from a space of pain and you need to prove yourself, you need to prove it to others, although it's very passionate, it's a very fast burning fuel because a lot of it will be based on anger. So again, notice what you are passionate about. Equality also comes up. Perhaps notice What are some of the belief system inside of you about equality? Whatever that means to you. What are some of the things that you feel you don't have as value? What are some of the things that you perceive about yourself as not valuable? Do you put people on pedestals and you believe they're more valuable than you? If that's the case, you will definitely have tendencies towards wanting to prove yourself, because you will want to be included. So that's also very important. But then I have 3 other cards that came up, and they're fantastic, because it sounds like it's a bleak. No, it's not. It's actually fantastic. You have the card of celebration, 3 of cups. You have moon in reverse, and you have the magician. So all of what I'm talking about here, all of what I am talking about will allow you to break through to a point where you will be able to manifest pretty much most of things in your life. They may not appear the same way as you're thinking, but you'll have the ability to create and manifest what you want. The magician to me symbolizes the ability, having everything needed in order to manifest one's desires. When you begin to understand yourself deeply, when you come to a place of harmony inside yourself, when your emotions, which you've been rejecting, are much more at peace, when emotionally speaking, inside of you, you feel more balanced, but you first have to feel your emotions, which will also allow you to face your fears. All of that will push you towards feeling like you are someone who can manifest. It'll push you from not having, feeling of constant not having. It'll push you to feeling of mostly gratitude. There's something fundamental here for many, many of you. And it comes with the abandonment card speaks to me about deep pain that is rooted in rejection, feeling unwanted, feeling not loved, feeling not good enough, abandoned emotionally or spiritually. So notice if the things that were said apply to you and in what way, and try to trace back and see where they come from. Chances are, if you are stubbornly committed to something that is unimportant, really, or somehow it's causing you difficulties, examine your feelings and where it all comes from, because you'll be able to tap into something quite magnificent that would allow you to shift things and see things again from a much more balanced view and a greater perspective, which will allow you to have more peace. But above all, I want to say, have patience with yourself. That's really important. So you guys are definitely moving into some, well, I want to say for many of you, better times. But acknowledging your emotions, and sometimes truth hurts. That's what I just heard. Acknowledging emotions, acknowledging that also means allowing yourself to feel pain. And why would you do that? That would be stupid, right? Well, if we hold on to pain because it is not felt and therefore not expressed, we carry that with us until we figure it out. And that's a constant trigger that creates chaos inside, and my throat is getting stuck again. And it'll cause difficulties in your life, naturally so. So it's important for you to do that. You owe yourself this much to know yourself better. And if you can give yourself that gift, that will be the best gift you have ever given to yourself, because it'll offer you opportunity to think and see things differently. And that, in my Joanna's opinion, that's probably one of the greatest gifts, because it opens doors. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If it doesn't make sense to you right away, listen to it at the end of the month. I have a feeling most of you who are listening to this, and I want to say your voice is important, very important. Your voice is important. You don't have to prove it. So for those of you who are stubborn about something, point is, thank you so much. I just lost the train of thought. If you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. And I wish you best of luck. Please comment if this makes sense to you. And again, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go now. Take care. Bye.